Yes, my people, welcome back to another episode of Where's My Podcast. And today we're joined by a very special guest. We're joined by my brother, Ibzz, the founder of SaintMind. Bro,
What's going on? Good.
My brother. Hey, Ibzz, thank you so much for coming on the pod, bro.
Thank you for having me.
Bro, this has obviously been a long time coming. Because when we first had the conversation online, when was that? Was that 2021?
2021, I think it was when I was on the drop.
Yeah. So when was
around
that?
them times. Bro, I think the drop was 2021 March.
Flipping hell. So it's literally been
March
2
time.
years, bro.
2 years.
And it's taken us this long to make. But you know what though, Ibzz? I'm always grateful for, I feel like God's timing is perfect timing, innit? And I feel like in those 2 years, you've done a lot. We've done a lot where everything's gone up. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it makes sense to have the conversation now, bro. So thank you for coming, man.
Thank you for having me again.
Oh, love. But how I basically start every conversation is I basically tell you, the guest, why you're in the chair, innit? So for you, but do you know what? For you, there's a few reasons. There's a few reasons, bro. So obviously, I first came across you in the drop, innit? And I feel like on the drop, you were like, for me, the streetwear guy on the drop. So that obviously got me attracted to you straight away. I'm like, rah, but then obviously, first episode, you was gone. I'm like, nah, man, I need to know more about this brother. So obviously, I'm doing my research and whatnot. I'm seeing your brand. I'm seeing the people you've had in it and whatnot. I'm seeing the way it looks, and I'm like, yo, this brother's talented, man. Like, I want to know more about his story. And then also, obviously, the fact that you're from Edinburgh in Scotland, bro, I didn't know of any other streetwear brands from that side of the world, innit?
One and only, bro.
One and only, bro.
One and only.
So that got me mad intrigued. And speaking on the Edinburgh point, seeing where you've come from and the conversations that we've had, I've felt like you've kind of worn the challenge of being from a city that quote unquote doesn't have a streetwear space on your back, and you ran with that. Like, to me, from the outside looking in, it looks as though like you're like, you know what? I don't care if man's from here. I'm still gonna do my thing, and I'm kind of gonna make a streetwear scene in this space. You know what I'm saying? So I commend you for that, and that's something I really, really want to delve into, because I feel like a lot of people, not to say they struggle with that, but a lot of people can often allow their environment or their surroundings to hold them back mentally from believing that they can actually achieve something, innit? So you're achieving great things, and I want to hear about how you've made that happen, bro.
Bro, to be honest, like you said, there's not a lot going on in Edinburgh, innit? So for me in Edinburgh, for me to grow up in Edinburgh and for me to see what's going on, the culture, I just wanted to basically be like, yo, there's nothing going on here. Everyone's wearing the same shit. What, can I swear on this?
Yeah, what?
Okay.
You can say whatever you want. There's no rules. Rash, tell him there's no rules.
No rules there. All right, come. Let me bring this closer as well. But I was like, you know what? Let me run it. Let me be the first man to do it. And I just thought I was different as like an individual as well.
All right, cool. Eve, sorry, let me cut you there, yeah? Speaking of you being different, because like my first question is always like, let's go back from when you was like a kid. So like, and the reason I kind of used the different as a segue, because from like your upbringing, did you kind of know from the jump that you were different? Do you know what I'm saying?
I didn't think, at the same time, yes, and at the same time, no. I was always that odd one out, if that makes sense. I used to be like the class clown. I used to be someone that didn't give a fuck about school, but I still studied for my parents, innit? So I still got my degree, I still got all that shit. But I personally I was kind of always thinking outside the box. It was never like, oh, I want to study, work a 9 to 5. I've never had that mentality, even at 15, even at 14, never. Like, I never thought to myself, yo, I want to be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. It was always, I want to run my own business. I want to do my own thing, whether it was fashion or not. At that age, I didn't really know much, but I knew I wanted to be my own boss, if that makes sense.
Speaking of that desire, obviously you're of Turkish heritage?
Kurdish
heritage, sorry, bro. Where do you think that desire comes from? Because obviously, naturally, migrant parents, whatever, move to Scotland. Obviously, more often than not, your parents want security. So it's like they push you really, really hard down the education route. So how comes you felt like, you know what? Of course, I'm going to value my education, but I want to be my own boss. I want to have a business.
My dad, my uncle that lives in London, my dad, he's never worked for no one but himself, innit? So he's in construction. He's never marketed himself to no one. He's never paid no one to like get jobs, nothing like that. Everything's just been word of mouth. And he's been doing his construction business for like 20 plus years in the UK. So for me, that's like, if he can do his own thing, I can do my own thing as well. Does that make sense? Same with my mum. She still works as well for herself. She's never worked for like no one else. Does that make sense? Obviously, these are not businesses. It's more self-employed. But for me, I think that kind of stemmed from my like that kind of stemmed into me as well, if that makes sense. So that's my thoughts on, I don't want to go work for someone else, come back home, repeat the next day, if that makes sense. Like when I see my parents, my dad, he goes work when he wants to, he doesn't go work when he wants to. And that's the freedom I kind of want. Does that make sense? You can spend time with family, you can spend time with yourself, you can go work when you want, and you still got your income coming in, if that makes sense.
So obviously, where were you born, sorry?
I was born in Istanbul.
Okay, sorry, that's why I thought Turkey.
Yeah.
So when your family came over from Turkey, was like your parents already entrepreneurs or like self-employed
No,
from
not
the
even.
jump?
Not even. My mom actually used to work for Lacoste, you know.
Oh, nice. So that's
Yeah,
fashion.
So she used to actually be in that sector a little bit, not proper. She used to work for Lacoste, Tommy Hilfiger, all these brands like in Turkey, like in the factories. And my dad, I'll be real with you, I think he was still doing construction, but not to the level he was doing that when he came to the UK. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And obviously they're kind of brought up in a village, so they was like helping their parents. Like my dad was helping their parents in a farm, like animals and that kind of stuff, innit? So yeah, they're not really educated people, but they've like learned these skills, brought it to the UK, and that's where I've kind of stemmed it from.
So when you were young and you were, seeing your parents doing your thing and whatnot, at what point or like at what age did you start to realize, okay, cool, I want my own business and I want my business to be within fashion?
But I started my first business at 16.
Okay.
And that was a fashion thing as well.
No way.
It was called King IC.
What does the IC stand for?
My initial. Do you get me? It's so bad. But I actually learned a lot from that. Even though it was like a flop, it was a total flop. It wasn't, at 16, bro, I still made £18,000 revenue in 1 year, bro.
What?
Yeah, 18. It was not a lot, but looking
You
back.
mean that's not a lot? 18 racks at 16?
18.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
bro. That's dope.
I mean, it's good. It's revenue, don't
Yeah,
it? But you
yeah,
just keep reinvesting it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I used to get like, my brother, he used to take like, grab the camera off me. Well, it was like an iPhone like 4 or something at the time. He used to take photos of me. I used to model my own thing, in my staircase, in the flat. You get me?
The crib.
Yeah, bro. Like we used to go on the staircase. He used to take my photos, built some quick website. It was shit, but it did the job. And then from there, I started learning more. I wanted to like teach myself more. My dream back then used to be, I want to be Stockton Foot Asylum.
Okay.
Now it's not even like, I want to stay away from Foot Asylum.
We'll get onto that.
But that's where it stemmed from, bro. So I started doing that. It motivated me more. And then I took all the money I kind of had saved up. My dad helped me again. And then I started building SaintMind with it. And that's when I got my brother involved because he started getting into fashion as well. And I told my man, I was like, look, you need to start learning how to design. Because, bro, I used to get like these, do you know, you get like ASOS pictures, yeah? Plain t-shirt, fam, just stick the logo onto it.
Okay,
that's what we used to do. That's what I used to do with like King IC in it from the start. But now it's like everything's from literally scratch, like pattern cutting into everything.
Before we go into more SaintMind, let me track back a bit. Because you mentioned, obviously, when you were 16, your dad gave you £5, yeah?
Yeah.
Most 16-year-olds, when they get birthday presents, just want to spend it on clothes. And most of us wouldn't say, you know what, I'm going to use this money to start my own brand. Obviously, I get why you did it because you're entrepreneurial. But the reason why I want to latch onto that is because in the environment you were, as you said, coming from Edinburgh, there wasn't a streetwear space like that, if that makes sense. So one, what type of brand was King IC? And two, what actually made you think, you know what, I want to start a fashion brand in Edinburgh?
So one, the reason I don't go and spend that money on something else is because I was seeing all these other brands. Like I used to look at brands like Six Silk and be like, raw, like, you know what I mean? Like I used to be, when I was young, it wasn't really fashion. It was just a brand that was out there that was big in it. And I used to look at these brands and I used to be like, yo, like this is mad. Like when I used to look at their Instagram, I'm like, how are people buying this with like the logo? Like the logo's even mad. Like it's just got two like weird S's with like some different font in it. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get this £5 and I'm gonna try to do something with it. I could have bought myself clothes. I could have bought myself whatever in it. But at that point, bro, I just really wanted to do something, if that makes sense. I really wanted to get out of the environment I was in. For some reason, I was just hungry in it. Even if it wasn't hunger to change my life, I was just like, I want to do something, like change my status. Not everything was money. Even now, like not everything's about money. But I just wanted to change my status, bro. I just wanted to give back. I just wanted to kind of build my status up, give back to my family. Do you get me? All that kind of stuff. That's where my hunger kind of come from. So yeah, I'd say that's how it kind of started. But even in school, bro, I used to sell sweets. Okay. Everyone's got the story in it. But like so we used to have this thing every Sunday, like Kurdish Community Centre, yeah? And we used to go, I was 12, bro, I'd go farm foods, yeah? Buy like £30 worth of like snacks. Bro, I'd literally come out with like a bill. £70 profit, bro. Every single Sunday, I used to do that. So, started making money from like 13, 14, do you get me? And I'd restart the thing next week. So it was just like that.
And then in terms of my second question, which was like, why fashion? Was it because you saw that the other brands were making money, quote unquote, easily? Because you obviously mentioned how you saw those brands and you thought, wow, this is just this logo and they're here and they're there. Was it more that, or was it, you know what, I'm Ibzz, I'm 16 and I like fashion?
It was definitely, I like fashion. And it was definitely, there was this one time where I was like, you know what, let me design a logo. It was just out of the blue, innit? Come up with like this king kind of logo, like the hat.
Crown or something.
Crown, yeah. And then I come up with like some italic font with King IC. And I was like, oh, you know what, this looks sick. And then I went on to, do you know you get like websites like Vistaprint?
Yeah.
Where you can just literally get a 1T fam and just stamp the logo on it, yeah? I'd done that, but that print was like, I don't know how to explain the print. It was a normal print, but it was like a glossy print where the gold actually looks like gold. It was like foil, you get me? And it arrived and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this thing. I was like, for some reason, that thing just looks so different to me. Something like that specific print looks so different to me. I was like, I'm going to run it. I done it, ordered my tees. The first time I ordered, it come all right. The quality wasn't amazing, but you know what? I didn't get no sales for like 5 months. Not a single sale, bro.
Where was you trying to sell? You had the website back then?
I had a website back then, but bro, looking back at it now, the website wasn't even working properly. Fam, do you get me? So I'm like, why am I not getting a sale? But the first person that bought it was my uncle, fam.
Okay, what,
right?
the same construction uncle?
No, this was a different one.
Okay.
Like he's like one of my younger uncles, isn't it? He bought something and I was like, rah. Like I got an order. I was running to my mom and shit. And my mom was like, yeah, I told your uncle to buy this thing. Do you get me? And I was like, what? Okay, anyway. First bit of money coming to my account, innit? And then after that, bro, some of my boys started buying it, like kind of, because I was begging them to. Do you get me? And then started like proper Facebook ads, like started all that shit. Spent so much money. Like, I don't even know where I got this money at this point. Like, I was getting some sales. I think my dad gave me a couple more bills to try to run the thing more and more and more. And next thing you know, bro, when you look at your like account, like overview of how much you've made in the last year, bro, I think it was like a year and 3 months or something, and it was like 18 bags.
And did you, could you like?
And this was while I was in college, you know. Like,
That's what I'm saying, that's mad.
No, I just left school actually.
Okay.
I just left school and I was in college doing fitness because I couldn't do business because the course was full, innit? So I went to some random course that I wasn't even interested in. So I actually put more time into it than like into this King IC brand. Than focus on the fitness thing because I knew I wasn't going to do anything with fitness anyway. How
were you pricing your stuff? Like, when I hear about really young people starting brands, I find it so interesting because it's like, it's almost impossible for you to know how to really do this, if you get what I mean, because you're at the age where no one's shown you anything, and where are you getting information from to even know how to do it? So like, how were you even knowing how much to price your stuff? You get what I mean? Things like that.
The way my mentality was, double it.
That's funny.
Do you get me? It was literally just double it. Like, that's the way my mentality was. It wasn't like, I need to times it by 3.5 or 4.5. It was just, okay, I paid 15 for this. I'm selling it for 30. Do you get me? It wasn't really, it wasn't confusing like that. And then you add the shipping costs and this is it. Like, the website kind of helps you do that as well. Like, I was using Wix. So they would have all that like kind of integrated in that, sorry. And it would just help my the whole thing in it. So from that, like, honestly, I done my research as well, obviously, but it was never the case of like, how much profit am I gonna make? How do I do this? Do you know what I mean? That didn't start happening. Even with SaintMind, I know we're gonna come back to that, but I didn't even do that with SaintMind until like a year or two after. You
didn't even do what?
Like the whole pricing strategy thing. Okay. Like, that's what I'm saying. I just learned everything. This whole, my first brand at 16 helped me a lot to start SaintMind, if that makes sense, and take it where it's at now. And obviously there's a lot more I'm still learning as well. So it's just time, bro. It's just like practicing.
So King IC, cool. Chapter closed.
Closed long time ago.
Long time ago. So then, cool. What happened after King IC? What was going on in your life? Were you still studying? Like,
I was in college. I was studying business and retail. I've done that for 2 years.
Retail?
Yeah, business and retail.
What's that like?
Bro, business and retail. It's just like you know, you get like merchandising.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, like visual merchandising,
Okay,
and all that
sick.
kind
But
of
it
stuff.
wasn't fashion specific, but
It wasn't fashion specific, but there was some like subjects related to
naturally,
that. Does that make
crossover,
sense? So, and then my teacher was like, yo, you should do visual merchandising. You seem to be good
Had
at
the eye
it.
for it, yeah.
And I was like, nah, like, that's not me. And then even my teacher, yeah, like, that's one guy I will help out if I ever make it in life. He used to be like, bare motivate me.
What's his name? Shout him out.
David. David.
What, in college you would call your teachers just David?
Yeah. I used to call my man Dave, innit? But yeah, bro, my man used to like, if I was late, bro, my man would be like, it's calm, I know you're running a business, this, that. Do you get me? Like, he was so safe with it. And even on camera, I'll say this, innit? But my man used to pass me with bare things as well, even if it wasn't amazing, yeah. But yeah, bro, like, he helped me a lot. He motivated me. He was like, yo, let me help you with this if you need any help. And he just got me into like so much work, like he got me into like work placement. He just basically helped me quite a lot in it in terms of be focused, you'll make it if you do well. Because I was a class clown in like high school, but when I got into college, because I actually liked my teacher so much, bro, I would listen to him, you get me? And then that's when I started taking it serious, and I used to listen to him, he used to help me. I wasn't one of them dickheads or like a class clown. I used to actually do my thing, get out. Whereas everyone else in my class was like just chavvy people. Yeah, like people that would just come in, not do their work, fuck around, and then leave. Do you get me? So I was that odd one out again, and he helped me with that. So that's how it went. But if you're taking it younger than 16, like 15, I've had bare traumatic experiences as well. So I think that's what kind of made me think a little bit different as well.
And what, you think that's where you get your drive from?
No, not drive. I wouldn't say that's where I get my drive from, but I feel like that's made me think a lot differently
From the
average person as well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say, I don't know if it's positive or negative, but just the way my mind works, innit? But even now, I don't think it affects me like that, but it probably does, because it's one thing I will never forget.
Give me examples, not necessarily of what you went through, but how it's manifested in how you are today. Do you know what I mean?
Examples of what?
Like, not of what happened, but okay, I'm like this because of X, Y, Z. Do you know what I mean?
Well, bro, let me tell you this way, yeah. Imagine you're 12 and you see someone. I'm going to get a little bit like...
No, of course, bro, come on.
Yeah, I'm going to get a bit deep, but imagine you see someone hang themselves in front of you, yeah? At 12, right? What would a normal 12-year-old do in that situation?
A normal 12-year-old? Cry, scream,
yeah,
run to their parents. Like...
Big man thing. I hoped a man at 12 lift them up by the leg while it was dangling, bro. Trying to call the feds. Like, yo.
You tried to save him, basically.
Yeah. And then I seen someone back, man. I obviously had to drop him because like I didn't know what to do. And then and at this point, bro, we was playing hide and seek with my friends in the park, yeah? I go into some little alleyway. I see someone just dangling, bro. Like, yo, go get my brother. And we're about to jump. I'm out there shouting for his brother's name, this, that. His brother's not coming. I go back to my man and I'm like, yo, I've called your brother's name. He's not listening. He's not hearing me, this, that. And he's like, that's his loss then. Just jumps. Yeah. And this is actually, I'm not going to lie, this is why I'm so close to my brother as well. I think that's one reason why that has impacted me to be like proper close with your brother, because that's a traumatic experience for me, innit? So when someone's like, yo, that's my brother's loss, and someone's trying to kill himself because of his brother, I don't know what the reason was, innit? I still don't know what the reason is to this day, but he jumps off. I'm running, bro. I grab him by the legs. His face is purple, bro. Like everything's like, it's fucked. And then I'm like, yo, I can't even like hold him anymore. So I go up to the like main road. I see a cyclist. For some reason, this cyclist has a massive shank on him. Bro, I'm, like literally, yeah. At this point, I'm not even deep in it. This cyclist got a massive shank on him, cuts the rope. And after he cuts the rope, that's when he like helps me call 999 as well. Feds come, they're like asking me questions, this, that. And yeah, bro, from that point onwards, I'm not gonna lie, I think like I was depressed for a minute.
Wait, did he die or did he?
So this is what happens. Couple of weeks passes. The police call my parents saying, yo, your son actually saved this guy's life.
Wow.
Yeah, and my parents obviously don't really tell me because they're like, he's only 12, innit? So my parents, like my mum, I think it was my mum, and I asked my mum, I was like, has he lived? Like, because I'm wondering at this point as well. And to this day, some people tell me, like back then when I was like, some people told me, yeah, he died. Some people told me, yeah, he's paralyzed. So I still don't know.
So now you don't even know.
I don't even know.
That's crazy.
But I think that affected me a lot as well in terms of the way I was thinking. Like after that, like didn't like therapy didn't happen, nothing. Like it was just like, yeah, that happened one day. I got up the next day and
Went
my
to
life's
school
not
and
there.
that, yeah. So there was like pretty much no aftercare after that.
Nothing.
I can't lie, that is 100% the maddest story I've heard. We've heard on this podcast and I've heard in my life.
Bro, trust me, it's fucked. Trust me.
Yeah,
like no one would expect it,
Facts.
innit? But yeah, I just wake up, bro. Like nothing's happened. Like people have traumatic experiences, innit? I've never had a traumatic experience like for myself.
Personally, yeah.
But yeah, like seeing that, bro, was fucked.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's fast forward back to college times or whatever. And then you went to study.
I went college 2 years. After college, I done my HNC, which is like a higher national certificate. And I went straight into the second year of uni, doing business and marketing as well. But when I stopped my brand, King IC, like, I think I gave it like a year and a bit before I started SaintMind, innit? So I was just studying, doing the normal average teen, what a normal average teen would do, innit? Chill, whatever. And all my friends back then as well, bro, like, they used to just bun, like, zoots, and I used to skip school, like, bear, all this shit. So, again, that's another, like, chapter that made me realize, yo, I need to get out of this system kind of thing, get me? Because when I was 16, all these men were like 22, 23, 24.
The oldest.
Yeah. So then I was like, I don't want to be like this when I'm 24, do you get me? So I was like, let me just focus on myself and let me get what I want to do in life. And fashion just came about, bro. Like fashion was something I was interested in. I wasn't deeply interested in it until I started SaintMind. But that's when my interest got deeper and deeper, and that's when I wanted more knowledge and all that stuff, when I started my own brand. Because the designs were like a lot different. It wasn't just, yo, let me create a logo and just stamp it on a tee, you get me? But yeah, started uni, and then I got my brother. My brother was in college at that time as well. Come up with a little plan. It actually took us 9 months to launch.
Yeah?
Yeah. We just done bare planning it, like the logo he came up with, but the name I came up with.
Okay, and what was that process like?
Bro, to be honest, when I came up with the name, it wasn't a simple process because I had bare different brand names written down in it on my phone. But it was just one time, I bun a suit, bro, and then the name SaintMind just popped into my head, right? And I think I was just thinking bare deep them days, innit? Like that specific time. And I kept repeating the name like SaintMind. I was like, yo, this clicks, you know? Like if someone keeps repeating a brand, is it going to stick to your head? And for some reason, I felt like SaintMind would.
It does. It's a wavy name still.
So I just stuck with that, bro. And then I took it to my brother. Before like, I had the little cross T in the middle. It was just literally SaintMind, like standard. And then my brother was like, yo, we can do something with the T. Let's change it up. And then even now, and then when he came out with that logo, I was like, do you not think this looks a bit religious? And then he was like, yeah, it does, but still. And I was like, fair enough, let's just run it. There was no deep thoughts behind it, innit?
For real. Them times, it's like SaintMind was just a name. It didn't have much meaning to you at that point.
It had meaning to me personally.
And what was that meaning?
The meaning to me personally was like, them times when I was younger, obviously when I told you, like when I was high and I was thinking of these names and I was around people that were older than me or people that were just doing fucked up shit, innit? Like people that would, I don't know, they don't have any beliefs, they don't have any like closeness to like God, they didn't have any values in life. Does that make sense? So when I was in that environment and I came up with the name SaintMind, it clicked onto me for a reason. That's what I think. And it wasn't just something like, why would I come up with the name SaintMind for no reason? So obviously, like my religion, I'm Muslim, innit? So like this whole saint thing and the little cross in the middle, to me, it's not like, yeah, it's a religious thing for me. It's just, it looks good for me. I think it's a good name. So I run with it. But for me, that's what it kind of like, that's how I combined the two in it, like SaintMind. Because for me, what's important is being a good person, helping others, and all that kind of stuff. That's what I believe in it. And the environment I was in wasn't really that. No one would look out for each other. No one would do that. Do you get me? So that's how I think, that's where it stemmed from. And then as the brand started like rolling, I think the meaning behind it was more, it started developing more as well. Especially because of me, like my own personal issues I had. I won't get too much into it, but like mental health and all that kind of stuff. Do you get me? And then I kind of just roll with it. I started finding more meanings behind the brand, if that makes sense.
As you grew and life experiences.
Yeah. So like when I was going through a like difficult stage, the one thing that would take me out of that stage was my brand. Do you get me? Get my head out of the little zone I was in. It would help me like think out of the box, make me a little bit happier. Do you get me? So yeah, there was a little bit more meaning to it. And even when I went on the drop, like the way I used to like explain what the brand's about, it literally is just to be a better person, like leave your footmark on this planet. Do you get me? Be remembered for something, which is why we use the quote like recognized by all. So do something to be recognized. Does that make sense?
Do something good to be recognized by.
Yeah. And that's where it kind of stems from. So as time goes on, the message behind the brand gets clearer and clearer, if that makes sense.
You know how you mentioned that it took you and your brother 9 months to launch? So what happened in that 9 months? What were you guys doing? And the reason I ask that is because in life, as young people especially, we rush things.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? We can have an idea. And you know, it's something that should be, championed, because being brave to just put something out 2 days after you think about it is commendable, don't get me wrong, but things that are long lasting, you build solid foundations through planning and whatnot and executing at the right moment. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's a good thing. But I also find it commendable that you and your brother didn't feel the pressure, or you felt like, you know what, the brand's not ready yet. Let's put it out at this point. And that process took 9 months. So what was kind of going on during that 9 months?
In that 9 months, basically what happened was we was obviously both studying, innit? So we had like exams. My brother and I were doing the website. We were making sure the website looks good. And that was obviously something I learned with the previous brand, innit? So we was like, make sure the website looks good, make sure the first collection we ever drop, make sure the quality is half decent, make sure everything kind of fits well. Do you know what I mean? And we wanted to drop, for example, the reason it took us 9 months as well is because we wanted to drop a summer collection, but at the same time, we didn't have the finances for it properly. 2, we didn't really have, I would say the resources as well, as in how are we going to drop this? What's our marketing method? How are we going to build this up? Do you get me? So when we wanted to drop in summer, we was like, nah, scrap that. We'll just drop in winter. Do you get me? So it kind of extended the whole time period as well. So within that months, we was like, okay, website, come up with a marketing technique, methods, how the quality of the clothes. Let's not rush anything when the items do come. We can like inspect it. We can look over everything. And when we are ready to launch, we launch with like peace of mind, innit? Like we've not missed anything out.
That you covered every corner.
Yeah, basically. And that's what we did. And because we were busy with our personal lives as well, like uni, college, kind of obviously made everything a little bit slower, innit? We could have done what we've done in 9 months in like 5 or 6. But we just didn't rush because we were like, if we're starting, we don't want to be like every brand and just like launch something one day.
Yeah.
And then 2-3 weeks later or a month later, like you've not sold anything.
That's real, bro.
Which is what I did with my previous brand, innit? Like I rushed everything. I didn't get no sales, bro, like for like 5 months, like I said. Do you get me? Because when we done this, the first day we ever like dropped, I think we got like, it was like 12 orders.
Wow.
Which is like still
good, bro.
Yeah, exactly. 12 orders on the first day of launching. The first month we got like 20 in total. And still something like that was still a massive achievement for us, innit? Like a brand that didn't even exist and it existed the first day. Got like 20 people, like 12 people to buy it and then 20 throughout the month. So yeah, and then that's when I was like, you know what? Patience and consistency and making sure everything is on point is going to get you the customers. There's no point rushing. So ever since then, that's where my mentality stems from as well. Like, I don't feel like someone's going to overtake me. Like, don't get me wrong. They probably will. They might. You never know. But if you're doing your work correct and you're doing everything like on point, you're going to catch up. That's the way I think, innit? Not everyone might think that, but if I'm taking like 3 months to release a hoodie, and you've got other brands releasing a hoodie like a month before me, but my quality is like 10/10 and their quality is like not the best.
Who would you rather be?
Do you get me? That's the way I like operate anyway. But my brother's completely different to me though. That's the difference. He's even more like, he's a more creative one, I'd say, in terms of like working, like visualizing things and coming up with different like things like on the internet. Like marketing wise, I'd say I am, but like when it comes to like designing, he is. But he's like proper like pays attention to detail. Like if there's one button missing, he'll be like, yo, we need to put a button in here. Or if the material's not what it is, he'll be like, yo, nah, we need to get another sample. So like he will just spend a lot of money on samples. Like we spend a lot of money on samples, which is what people don't obviously understand. As a brand that's still starting up, you're probably spending like racks and racks a year just on samples, innit? That you don't even sell.
Facts.
So, but the key to that is just order samples your own size, innit? Because then you'll wear it. That's what we do.
Hey, that's a major. Hey, you have dropped so many keys in like 2 minutes just there, and I'm trying to think what I should latch onto, because you said a lot. But I think one of the first things I want to latch onto is the fact that you guys are so big on your quality. And I think for brands that are starting up, like I've spoken about this before, like when you are a younger quote unquote brand, people do give you the grace to not have super high quality, because like you can't necessarily expect it from a new brand, you know what I'm saying? That's why I like to hear brands that are like, you know, we're so on it, that's so important to us. But I also find it quite surprising when brand owners like yourself are like, you know what, we need to do X amount of samples to make sure it's perfect for the customer. Do you know what I'm saying? Why do you think you and your brother are like that? And the reason I ask that is because in the environment you were in, speaking about Edinburgh or whatever, you wouldn't have necessarily had like another brand owner that could come and tell you, yo, this is important. Whereas in places like London, where we're around so many different people who have brands, your best mate can have a brand. He can tell you, yo, like you need to focus on this. Yeah. So where did you and your brother kind of get that sort of mindset from?
I think the mindset came from, if we're gonna do this, we want to do it properly, innit? Like I don't want to be that brand that's known as, yo, I bought a tee from SaintMind. I wore a couple of times, the print fucked up, or it shrunk in the wash. Do you get me? We was that brand a couple of years back, I won't lie to you. We was that brand because we were working with the wrong factories and manufacturers and stuff like that. So that's when we dropped a collection called the Rebirth collection, which we changed everything.
It looked cold though.
Yeah,
it was that black tee with the wold on it.
Yeah.
Wavy.
So it was that, and that's when we switched manufacturer. That's why that took us a good like 8 months, 7-8 months to relaunch everything, work with new factories, new designs, new sizing, new everything. Do you get me? Designs were a little bit more simple on like the jacket, the cargos, and hoodies and stuff. But that was where like the whole thing kind of stemmed from. Like, yo, we don't want to be that brand anymore. We want returning customers, because that's where you're actually gonna really grow from, like word of mouth. Like if you buy something from us now, 100% guarantee that you're gonna buy from us again. And I confidently say that, innit? But I go up to people today, like if I'm out in a club, and my boys are wearing my shirt, or I'm wearing my own thing, and people come up to me and they do ask, yo, where's that tee from? I'm like, yo, it's my thing. And they feel it, bro, and they're like, yo, that's actually hard. And I'm like, you know what? If you buy this right now in front of me, which people have done, you know, while they're out yacked,
as in like gone on their website.
Like on the website in front of me, bro, bought a tee, And I'm like, big man, if you don't like the quality, if you don't like the sizing, I will literally personally give you that tee for free and give you your money back. I say that to people because I'm confident. Do you get me? With the quality that we have now. So many times, bro, like in the last year, we've had 5 returns.
Wow.
5 returns in the last year, bro. Do you get me?
That might be a world record.
Like, based on the orders we get as well.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like 5 returns is like, the only time we'll get a return is like, we've never had a quality issue return. It's like, oh, this size didn't fit me, or this, or that. Do you get me? No one complains about the quality. No one complains about the printing. No one complains about the embroidery, nothing. Like, our stuff doesn't shrink in the wash no more. Like, it's just perfect, innit? So obviously there's a lot of improvements still, like in our other products. But right now our tees, our cargos and stuff like that, they're on point with sizing and stuff like that. But there's other little bits that we can obviously improve on. But yeah, bro. So I would say, what was the question again?
You basically answered it.
Yeah.
It was
Like,
literally why you were so on the quality side, and you was like, because if we're gonna do something, we're gonna do it proper.
Yeah.
And speaking of all of this stuff, I'm happy about how in depth we're going into the brand, because the way you described King IC aesthetically, I ain't even seen it, but aesthetically, I can imagine it was very different
very different.
to SaintMind,
Very
because obviously I've seen the Rebirth collection, and that's even very different from your next collection. So aesthetically, what were the influences behind SaintMind, if that makes sense? Because again, I keep bringing it back to you being in Edinburgh or whatnot. You're not necessarily going out and seeing people that you're like, no disrespect to Edinburgh, but from the conversations we've had, you're not necessarily going around and being like, yo, this brother's dressed fly, like I want to make clothes like that. So where was that aesthetic influence coming from?
But that influence, like you said, the Rebirth was more about quality, the way we want to come across, even on socials, innit? That's where Rebirth started from, the Rebirth collection. But after that, every single collection we drop is more, how should I say, like, yo, I want to drop this because it's something more like, so whatever's trending, we'll kind of go with it, but switch it up. Do you get me? So even if we come up with a product that's like a month or two later than something that's trending, then we'll still do it, but we'll add our touch to it, if that makes sense, innit? But I'll be honest, we don't get inspired by nothing in the UK.
Yeah?
Nah. It's always more like Europe and America. And
It definitely gives me like LA vibes.
Yeah, like
LA drip type.
More like America, Europe, like Germany. Do you get me? Because these are the brands that my little brother follows more personally. He doesn't really look at the UK drip. Do you get me? Because when you look at UK drip, bro, most times it's the same. Like most brands you look, that's what we think anyway, innit? Like the cargos are the cargos, the tees are the tees, you get me? Or like the puffer jackets with the logo on the back and then a little thing on the front. Like most brands, like if you look at brands like Trapstar, they will start a thing and most brands will follow. Do you get me? Or like in that sector. So we don't really try go for that vibe. We go for like what brands in Germany are doing or what brands in America are doing. And we follow little brands that are proper creative that many people don't know about. But they've got high value customers. They know their designs. And even when it's like runway shows like Paris Fashion Week, London Fashion Week, we'll see what brands like LV come up, like we'll see what LV comes up with like the new garments that they bring out, and we'll add a little touch to it. We'll bring the samples out. So we're kind of ready with what's to come, what's trending. Does that make sense? But that's, I would say, where we get our inspiration from. Our colors come from like nature colors, like earth tones. Yeah. Like, do you get me? The blue, like some of the black, the cream. Yeah. That's where I'd say that comes up. If I see a really nice color somewhere, like literally a rock, I'll take a pic of it, bro. I'll send it to my brother. Like, yo, this color. Yeah, like, can you try to get this color? Do you get me? Even if it's the most basic color, like right now we're trying to be more colorful, but mix it with bland colors as well, like the black, the white, the cream. Because
I think that's what, for me, that's what, when I think of SaintMind, that's what I think of. The blacks, the greys, the creams. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. So, but we're going to try switch it up a little bit, try to be more colorful, like adding the yellows, the blues. Do you get me? So just whatever kind of is trending that year. And even if it's not trending that year, if we think it's a really sick color, we'll do it. Do you get me? Yeah. But when it comes to like our t-shirt printing, when it comes to like the different like embroideries or prints that we've got on our tees, mainly we have more prints on our t-shirts than anything else, because I think it just looks more classy when you've got like a hoodie that's not got a massive print on it or whatever. But even our tees, like as soon as we drop a tee with like a mad print on it, it sells out quickly. But the classical tees we've got right now, like it's just like the crest logo with the SaintMind and the recognized by all at the back. That is more of like a essential kind of look where like you can wear that on a night out, you can wear that anywhere, you get me? Smart, formal, night out thing, whatever, yeah. And that's more quality. So that kind of helps us to build customers. Like, yo, if you buy this tee, it's plain, you can wear it anywhere, everywhere. You're going to feel the quality and you're going to want to buy one of our other tees when it's something mad. Do you get me? Yeah. So that's kind of the way we kind of go about like building that new audience. And
makes sense. Everything you said makes sense from what I've seen. I can't lie. And I feel like it's working from seeing who you've got in the brand and whatnot. People in America. I always see Reek from, no, not Reek. What's my man called? The
Gianni.
Yeah, what's his Braden? That's it. I used to, he's a
he's repping it, man.
He really is, man. He makes it look hard as well, bro.
He always wears it.
But sorry, I'm going to backtrack a bit, Ibzz, yeah? But I found it interesting when you said how your first drop, you were able to sell like 20 or so orders, yeah? And sorry, this is going to be a mix of things, yeah? You as a person, you're charismatic. You're confident. Do you know what I'm saying? I like your personality. Like, you seem as though you can sell bread to a baker. Do you know what I'm saying?
Come on.
Hey, don't let your head swallow. You got to stay humble, you know.
I'm always humble.
But also, in the place you were, from the conversations we've had, it seemed as though people didn't dress in the way SaintMind.
No.
You get it?
Yeah.
So, like, not to say how were you able to get orders that quickly, but what was the process of marketing the brand locally, and what role did you play in that? Hey, that was a sick question. Oh my days.
That was a sick question still.
Flipping out.
Right, let me start off here, yeah? I'll start off locally first, innit?
Mm-hmm.
I would say, and like, this is where like bare problems with my parents and that start as well.
Damn, I wasn't expecting that.
Cause not problems, but like, do you know, just yapping at you proper. So I would say a lot of my marketing technique from my end to the locals, I'm not gonna lie, nightlife, bro. Do you get me? I used to network like mad G. Like, I used to see like Tom, Dick and Harry, bro. I'd be like, yo, go on my fucking Insta, follow my thing right now. Especially when I'm drunk, yeah. Even when I was drunk. But I never used to be that guy that, yo, I'm out, let me go get things. Nah, G. Like, I used to literally just go, talk to any man that would come across me. Yo, yeah, what do you do? Yeah, I've got my brand. Oh, is it? Like, and I'll just conversate with them, innit? And then they're like, raw, give it a follow, check, whatever. And eventually, the way I know how Edinburgh people work is that if they see progress, they're bound to support you eventually. Do you get me? That's the way they are.
That's most areas, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true. That is most people. But that's what I need to try to get everyone onto this, like, from the get-go, innit? Like, since 2018. And obviously COVID stopped that for me. But anyways, we'll go back to that later. So that's how I would say I used to market myself. Nightlife, socializing with people, and that was what kind of made it happen locally, innit? When it comes to like Facebook or like on socials, I used to just, but I didn't even know anything about it, to be honest with you. I used to just go, I used to boost the post, for example. Do you get me? Just whatever.
There was no like formula, it was just...
Yeah, there was no formulas, like there was no funnel there was nothing there. It was just like, yo, this is like, even looking back, like now, thinking about it right now, like when I used to go and look at the creative that I used to post, bro, it used to be dead. Like, it wasn't amazing, do you get me? But the algorithm on Facebook and Instagram back then used to be a lot easier. Like, bro, if I had the products today with that algorithm back then, I'd be worth £1 million now. I'll tell you that right now. Do you get me? Like, it's facts, bro. Because it's like, it used to be so easy back then, bro. Like, when you used to convert people on Facebook and Instagram with the algorithm, like, now you got these updates, you can't even reach people on iOS. Yeah. Like, they've made it so much more difficult. And when you're a smaller brand and you're not spending as much, you ain't even getting seen no more. You need to spend bread to even be seen. Do you get me? So, like, that's the market, like, that's the technique I used to use back then. It wasn't amazing, but if I was to use the technique I use now, for example, back then it would be a whole different game, bro. Do you get me? But yeah, I would say Facebook, Instagram, and like nightlife when it comes to in person. Word of mouth, kind of, but not really. Like, obviously, when you're that like new, no one's really gonna be like, oh, you heard of this thing. Do you get me?
Do you know what, Eve? Speaking of like the nightlife again, do you know what? That doesn't sound mad to me, because I've heard other fashion people say things like that. Because I always reference Jerry Lorenzo, because I remember he was saying how important nightlife was to him starting Fear of God. Because one, that's what actually made him start Fear of God. Because he actually said that when he was out, he would see people that he didn't recognize buying stuff in the clubs and that, yeah. And then he was like, they were fashion people. And that first made him say, what the hell, fashion people can make money like this? Cool, so that's the first thing. But then he was also saying, from being in those spaces, that's when he was able to kind of get his brand message out there. Do you know what I'm saying? So when you were out there and you was chatting to people, going back to what I was saying before about people not really dressing in like that SaintMind aesthetic, where you were, how were you kind of selling it to them verbally?
Bro, so that's the thing, innit? I wasn't really selling it to them. I wasn't trying to sell to them. It was more follow my brand, see what I'm gonna do. Because I used to tell everyone, bro, like from the day I started it, I'm gonna be the biggest thing in Scotland. You get me? Like, I used to sell not even my like the products. I used to just sell myself and the brand name, if that makes sense. Like just get people to be like, yeah, that's SaintMind. Now, bro, when you go at people like, yo, that's Ibzz SaintMind.
Swear.
I swear to God. Do you get me? But it's mad to even think like I've even had a few people in Scotland, bro, come and take photos with man.
And you're like, what? I can't
Like
even
I'm
go
slurring.
text no more.
No, not like that, bro. But like nightlife, innit? Like people that are just, I don't know. It's not happened like bare times, like once or twice, innit? But it's like still random.
It's random, yeah.
And yeah, it was just like try get the name out there, try get people to know the name. That's what my aim was. It was not really, yo, buy this tea off me. Like even now, I would never go up to people and be like, yo, go buy that tea right now. I used to because I had to, because that's the way I used to operate. But now it's like I've got customers all over the world now, so I'm a little bit more chill. But if someone's gonna ask me, now the things kind of switched. Now people are asking me like, yo, how's the brand going? What's going on? When's the next drop? This, that. Do you get me? And now I'm like, yo, I don't even want to chat about this on nightlife. But I'm just trying to enjoy myself. You actually just want
to enjoy your night.
Yeah, do you get me? So it's worked to an extent, but at the same time, it doesn't mean I'm just gonna stop because I'm nowhere near where I want to be at. And because of the people in Edinburgh, like you were saying, it's not the clothes they would wear, innit?
Yeah.
This comes back to when I dropped them cargos, like with the crosses all over it, yeah? Bro, when I dropped that, not a single order from Edinburgh, bro. Not a single order. No one in Scotland, whatever.
It was too fashion forward for...
Yeah, like it was too much, innit? Like, yo, I can't wear that. Like, people used to be like, yo, that's too much. It's got like crosses all over it. Like, it's not something that they could wear, innit? Bro, like, after, even though like they seen other people, like they seen like these celebrities start wearing it, they seen like more high profile people start wearing it, and then I think that was the time when I first released them. That was when Central C wore my stuff on Blue Magazine, innit?
Yep.
It wasn't with them specific cargos, but he was still like wearing SaintMind. And when that kind of went around the town, man was talk of the town then.
Seriously?
I swear down, bro. Like, yo, have you seen Central C? He wore SaintMind, this, that. I think that's when, bro, I'm not even shitting you, G. I literally got bare orders in Edinburgh.
When people saw that cover?
When people saw like Central C, like other people, like rappers, like A9 Officer, all these other people start like that wore SaintMind, they started going for it then. So when it became a trend, and then when people in Edinburgh started wearing it, that's when more people wanted to buy it.
Sorry to cut you, Ibzz. How did that make you feel? And you get why I asked you that? Because it's like, yo, it's the same clothes. Why do you need that? Shout out Benjamin Che for showing me this, but why do people need that social proof to start wearing your stuff? I guess that's human nature, but how did it make you feel?
Bro, it made me feel good, but it also made me feel like, right, how can these people not just be, like if you like the piece, yeah?
Just buy it.
Just buy it.
Yeah.
Why do you need validation from other people? Do you get me? That's what I felt like, innit? Like, because at the same time, it put me down in terms of, it didn't put me down like that, but it put me down like, is my design shit? Do you get me? Like, what? I don't really ever base myself off just Edinburgh or Scotland, but I was like, are these people just hating on, man? They do not want to buy my stuff because I made it or it's my brand. Do you get me? But then as soon as you start seeing other people wear, and you see like someone like Central C wearing it, or someone that's kind of high profile, and you start seeing other people in Edinburgh wear it, that's when you want to buy it. Because most of the people that did buy it didn't know it was my brand in Edinburgh. Do you get me? But the people that did know me, they wouldn't buy it until they seen other people. That's how it kind of worked, innit? So the people that knew me didn't buy it at the start. It was people that didn't really know me, like didn't really know I was associated with the thing. That's when the people that knew me started buying it as well.
That's so interesting.
Like even girls started buying it. They would wear it at festivals and shit. Like there was this one girl that messaged me, like, yo, please, I'm going to this festival. Please give me a pair of cargos. I was like, buy it on the website.
Like what?
Like what you want me? Yeah, what you want me to do? She's like, oh, have you got a discount code? I was like, nah. I was like, you ain't getting no discount code. Buy it, innit? She's like, £90 too much. I was like, well, don't buy it then.
Someone else will.
So that's how it goes, bro. That's why for me, Edinburgh, don't get me wrong, I want to be the biggest in my own country, you get me? Like Scotland. But like, I want to be the biggest in the world as well. But obviously to start off, like when I look at brands like Supreme, that when they're the biggest in like where they started, like New York, all that stuff, like people used to rep it, and that's where it stems from. Do you get me? That's where the whole community starts and it expands. So in my ideal world, that's how I would like the brand to happen as well. But unfortunately, it's not the case. Do you get me?
Speaking of that, Ibzz, I really like that point. And I think it's interesting you mentioned Supreme because obviously, one, New York is obviously bigger than Edinburgh, but New York is like a cultural hub.
Exactly.
In a sense that it's known all over the world. People go for what they'll experience there, and part of what they'll experience is the fashion. You get what I'm saying? So what advice would you give to like small brand owners from lesser quote unquote known cities in terms of getting their brand out there and getting buy-in from the people around them?
Bro, honestly, I think the best advice I'd give anyone when it comes to starting a brand and for them to want people, like local people to wear it, yeah, is to just do your thing outside of the local community.
Wow.
Because if you do your thing outside of the local community, the locals are gonna buy it no matter what. Because do you know why? It's gonna start like this, yeah. You're gonna do your thing, you're gonna grow. Say you got orders from America, London. Say I'm talking from my perspective, or like it could be any other city in it. Canada, anywhere, everywhere in Europe, whatever. When these people see that you've started something big and you're getting these customers, you're getting these orders, you've actually started a community elsewhere, that's when they're gonna be like, raw, this brand started in my city, let me buy it.
That's when they start championing it.
And then that's like, yo, I know him, you know. And then that's when they'll start supporting you as well. Do you get me? But they need that they don't want to be the first ones to do it. I don't know the reason myself, bro. Like, for me personally, if my boy started a brand or my boy started a shop, like a takeaway shop even, it could be a barber shop or whatever.
You're supporting it.
I'm supporting it.
You're getting a trim there.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, I don't know what it is in it. Like I know bare boys, bro, that will go and spend $2 on a Cole Buxton hoodie. But then when it comes to supporting a local brand, they'll be like, nah. Do you get me? So it's preference. It's like you're obviously wearing that hoodie because you want to. You don't want to buy from your local brand because you don't want to, innit?
Yeah.
So they don't want that money to go to someone else around them.
Okay, so you think it's a bit of that, like crabs in a barrel bucket type mentality?
Yeah.
Because I think it's also a mix of just status in the sense that,
100.
You know what I mean? People know a brand like Cole Buxton, for example, it's a wavy brand. If they wear that in wherever they are, they feel fashionable and it validates the fact that they think they're fashionable. Whereas if they wear the new up and coming brand, they're like, okay, it cost me X amount, but this isn't going to add any value to my quote unquote status.
Yeah. Bro, and why do you think a lot of people want to, like, someone like me especially, why do you think I want to move from a place like Edinburgh to go into another city? Because I'm probably going to get more respect from another city. Do you get me? Like, if I'm telling people, yo, I moved from Edinburgh to Manny or London and I'm doing my fashion thing here, they're going to be like, raw, okay.
Wow, yeah, no,
do you get me? But if I'm staying there, bro, I see the same faces every week.
Seriously?
Yeah, 100, bro. Edinburgh's so small, bro. Like, population is like 500, 600,000 people, bro. So like when you're going out nightlife, when you're in the same area all the time, you're bound to see someone at a restaurant or at the same club. Do you get me? Even nightlife, everyone goes out at the same place every week.
What's the place? Lulu's, whatever you called it.
Lulu, Shanghai, do you get me? Like, good vibes, but I think it's just a mindset. I'm not there with the people that have got the mindset there, innit? I feel like I'm very different to the people that are there, if that makes sense.
And that's no disrespect to the people. It's just
no disrespect. Yeah. It's just I feel like I'm on a different. I'm in my own lane, but in a different league. Like these, I will support if like you do something in it, but that's why my mentality is completely diverted out of that whole local thing. Like my mindset is now like, let me conquer everywhere else. That's the mindset I have now. But
yeah, that's major keys, you know. There's so many keys in this. I can't wait to clip, you know. But speaking of the nightlife again, obviously when I've done my research, you know, I'm a diligent researcher. Man, scrolling through Instagram and whatnot, I'm scrolling to like 2018 and whatnot, and I'm seeing you with Ambush, Mo Stack, like different people wearing the brand or whatever. How did you get in that position in Edinburgh to be that person that can even access that profile of person? Because them times like Mo Stack and that popping, you get it. 100%. Obviously, he's come to do a show. So how did you kind of position yourself in that way?
Bro, luckily, again, this comes back to nightlife as well. Do you get me? There's people that support, don't get me wrong. There's people that will give me access to these kind of things, that will try get me into these things when they can, or when they can't, they won't, whatever. But like when it comes to meeting people like Ambush, or when it comes to meeting people like, even when I went to French the Kid show, like, do you know Artan?
Yeah.
Bro,
get another like, opposite interest.
Yeah.
Hey, bang
bro,
up.
my man, safest guy. Yeah. I hit him up one day. My man was like, yo, come to Newcastle. I'm doing a show there with French the Kid when he was doing his like thing. Bro got me backstage, handed out my thing to Artan. He wore it on like his biggest show at Coco London.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Like he's even wearing a new music video. It's even his album cover, G.
Flipping out.
Do you get me? So all these things kind of happen through, I'd say, socials, but also if they're coming to a club and they're performing and I know they're in the city, bro, I'm there. Do you get me? I'm finding out. I'll do my research just like Unit. I'm going to that spot. Like when Ambush came, I was like, yo, my brother was like, yo, Ambush is in Edinburgh, you know. I was like, come, give me 2 minutes. I'm on his stories, bro. I see, like, cause I eat out a lot in Edinburgh, innit? So I know what spots looks like what on Instagram. Do you get me? So he's out there and he's in some like African restaurant. I'm like, that's right next to it. I know where that spot is.
Yeah.
Big man, I go in, yeah. He's there with his like boys. I'm like, right, okay, why did I just come in? I could have just waited for him outside. But now I look like a dickhead if I just go in and be like, yo, bro. Do you get me? While he's eating.
So you had to order some pounded jam or something?
Bro, I ordered some latte, yeah, and I didn't even drink from at like 11 o'clock at night, bro. I ordered a latte and I'm there by myself, G, while they're all like vibing. The minute they got up, I'm like, yo, Ambush. I'm like, yo, I'm trying to give you stuff, innit? He was like, he literally turns around and says, big man saying, you ordered a coffee for me to wait.
Was he laughing?
Yeah, but he was like, you could have just came up to me, innit? I was like, okay, come. So went up to my, like, got the car, turned it around, had all the stuff in the car, gave it to him. That's how that happened. Mo Stack, he came to perform in Edinburgh. And one of my boys was like proper fanboy, innit? Of Mo Stack. So while he was there, like when Mo Stack had his table, he managed to chat to him. And then my boy was like, yo, let's link Mo Stack. He's come with linking us tomorrow and you can give him your shit as well. So we drove all the way to Glasgow to his hotel.
And how long's that journey?
45 minutes. Okay. It's not the worst, innit? Went to his hotel, gave him and all his boys like stuff as well. And that's kind of how it happens, innit? Like, I just travel. I just try and make sure that I'm always there and like positioned correctly. Like, bro, even times when I'm barbering, if I've got a ring, like a call, like, yo, by the way, this price is in Edinburgh. I'm like, yeah, come, boom, I'm dipping. Do you get me? Like, I'll never miss the opportunity, if that makes sense. And like the other week before I went on holiday, you know, young Teflon.
Yeah, of course.
He was in Edinburgh.
That's a legend.
Yeah, he was in Edinburgh as well. My boy called me. He went to his sneaker shop, which is called Sneak Geek. He called me and he was just like, yo, young Teflon rates the t-shirt and tracksuit I'm wearing. He wants one, innit? So I went down, gave him it, and I gave it to Tiny Boost as well. Yeah. So all the, like, literally, it's just like whatever, innit? If people, and that's the good thing, which is why I like getting myself out there locally as well. Because when someone's like an artist is down,
people come to you.
People can come to me and be like, yo, this guy, do you get me? Like, he'll pattern you with this, he'll pattern you with that. And for me, it's not even about, oh, I'm losing out on money. It's just like, you've seen the thing, get it. I'm at that stage where I can comfortably give out clothes
not worry about
to people, innit? So like, it's not like, raw, I've only got this much left. I can't give this away. I need to sell it. But before it was like that. But now it's like, yeah, okay, take it. So my advice to anyone would be like, if you see someone, converse it and just give them the thing. Do you get me? And risk it. Like, they might not wear it, because I've had many opportunities where they've not wore it as well. Like Dele Alli, for example. I've seen him in like Selfridges, gave him my thing. He never wore it, but
he could have worn it, just never worn a picture.
Exactly.
Never took a picture.
That's what I'm saying. So I would just give it, bro. And like, even people like Chunks, like I've met Young Philly a couple of times.
I see that picture.
Yeah. Young Philly's like stories like weird as well.
What's that story? Go on.
Came Edinburgh, he wanted a trim, innit? So I hit him up and he randomly like messaged me back. I was not even expecting it. Because I don't know if my message was at the top. I don't know how the whole thing worked, innit? But he was like, yo, can you give me a trim? I was like, I'm coming. He was like 40 minutes away as well, innit? It was like a place called Musselburgh.
I've been there.
Yeah?
No, I'm trying to shit.
I was going to say, how you not come to Edinburgh and you've got Musselburgh? But he came there, I cut his hair, bro. And then my mum was like, yo, you want money? I was like, no, I'll wear the thing instead.
Yeah.
So I done a video of him wearing it. But I boosted that post like mad. I kind of knew what I was doing at this point as well, innit? Boosted it, bro. The revenue, like the return on investment I got from that post was like, yeah, Philly, just keep your 50 quid, innit?
Yeah, serious, like proper.
Like proper, bro.
Yeah.
Like proper. I think I made 4 bags from that post.
Hey, you better not let him hear this. You know he's gonna come back with an invoice. Yo, what
Fam,
you
it's
got,
calm,
bro?
innit? And then the second time I seen him was in a club, innit? And he was like, yo, big man saying like, the trim you gave me was a dead trim. So I was like, you're mocking it, you know? But he was like, nah, it's calm. Because no one even knew it was filming. It was in Newcastle, innit? When I seen him in the club, fam, I was like, you're literally mocking it, fam. But
Hey, that is too funny. No, Philly seems like a good guy still.
nah, yeah, he is.
And from
man.
that story, you can tell it. Do you know what, Ibzz? I love hearing stories like this. And the reason why I love hearing them is because I feel like just as people in general, we're all human beings. Sometimes we can just be so prideful to the point where even when we're starting something, we can't humble ourselves to be like, you know what? Let me go and approach this person. Do you know what I'm saying? Some people feel like my brand is too nice. I spent too much on making this clothes to give it away for free or whatever. But I love how you have that mentality where like, you know what? This is going to get my brand out there. I'm going to do it. The question I want to ask you is like, I think one thing people may struggle with, and I feel like I've mentioned this on the pod before, is you have to be brave to do that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like to go up to a stranger and be like, yo, like, because I'm sure when you first started doing it, maybe your voice may have been shaking or whatever.
100. There's even been times where I've missed opportunities and not
because so like, how did you get to the point where you know you're brave enough to do that?
I think it was just me repeating it to myself, like, yo, Ibzz, why are you not doing it, fam? Like, you've got someone that can like grow your brand or like do something with it. Like, if he's right in front of you, she's right in front of you, just go for it, innit? Like, what's stopping you? At the end of the day, the worst is, nah, like, leave me alone, innit? Like, I don't want to do it, whatever. So I just kind of kept repeating myself. I started building more confidence up. And if I see an opportunity now, bro, I'm going for it 100%. Bro, I've got bare stories that I've sat outside a hotel, bro, for like 2 hours, like just for this Turkish rapper, Sefo, which is massive, to come out and like, for me to give him my thing. Do you get me? And like, when I look back now, that 2 hours was worth it. Because why? He's wrote on his stories bare times. He's got like almost 1 million followers. Do you get me? He's wrote on TikTok bare times. Even though he's not really shouted man out, it's like, this is content I can grab and still use. Do you get me? And like add to the portfolio and be like, yo, this guy's won my brand. This guy's won my brand. And I don't even ask people no more, like, can you wear it? I just give it to them. And it's about that confidence of having that confidence in your product to be like, yo, this is a good product. So if they don't wear it, then clearly they don't rate it. But if you just give it to them and they wear it, then obviously they like it, innit? Which is recently, thank God, it's been the case with like many people. But before that, it was that like kind of putting myself down, putting my product down, like undervalue my product and myself. Like, yo, can you please wear it? Can you shout me out if I give it to you? This, that. Like, trust me, just go for it. Like, there's no point in like hesitating. There's no point. Obviously, you need confidence. You need to be brave. But at the same time, if you can't even do that, how are you going to run a whole operation?
It's big facts.
Do you get me? If you like, that's the way I think. If you can't go up to a random and ask them for the most basic thing, how are you going to run a whole operation, bro?
Hey, you know when people say things like this, it kind of draws me out because there's been enough times, bro, where I've seen people and I'm like, yeah, raw, like, I should go and chat to them and just tell them about what Where's My TV's doing. But like, I get shy, bro. Like, for example, even Karen Binns, like a big American stylist, literally, you know, I was in Shoreditch House before. She was literally right there next to me. And I could have just spoke to her. And I said, nah. You know what I'm saying? So as much as you're saying this to the listeners, you're saying this to me too, because we all go through it, man. So big up you on being honest about that. And I really like how you kind of positioned it as when you have faith in what you're doing and faith in your product, for example, that's what should give you the drive to kind of
100%.
have those sort of conversations.
And that goes back to you saying, if you don't believe in it, who else is going to believe in it?
Facts.
Do you get me?
Facts.
So like, people can talk to about WMTV, like people can be like, yo, you heard this podcast, whatever. But then if you, the main man, aren't doing it yourself, how you expecting others to do it? You get me?
Facts.
So
but
like,
it's also difficult to kind of find that balance between being confident in what you're doing and being considered arrogant. Because if we chat back to when you was talking about at the time when you were out in the nightclubs and that, and you're telling people, yeah, follow my band and whatnot, and you knew them times it was going to be the biggest thing in Scotland, some people would hear that, some less confident people would hear that and be like, you know what, bun this guy, man, I don't want to support this guy because they're, not to say they're jealous, but they felt like you were arrogant. So it's so important to kind of try and strike that balance as well. Do you know what I mean?
I get you. But I think in this day and age with this generation, bro, when you feed people that confidence, they let you less in it. Like, see when you're confident in yourself and what you're doing, and you just feed them a lot of, like, bro, imagine this. Imagine if you told someone 100 things, like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I've just done this, I've just done that kind of thing. out of 100, tell me if you done 10 of them, if you actually went and done 10 of them out of 100, do you really tell me the other 90 things you said people are gonna remember? They ain't, bro. So as long as you do 10% of what you say, bro, like that's what people are gonna focus on. Do you get me? That's the way I think. So I can sit here and be like, yo, see next year, yeah, I'm gonna make 10 mil. If I don't do that 10 mil, bro, but I've said like 5 other things that I have done, they're gonna be like, rah, he's done that 5.
Facts.
Do you get me? That's what people don't understand. Obviously, I'm not saying just go and waffle.
Yeah.
But like, if you say realistic things and maybe things that are maybe not so realistic, but are realistic down the line, say it. Do you get me? Like, it's like, what's stopping you? Like, it could be like that. Like, you had the opportunity to go chat to your, that you could, bro, you could have been like, how long are you in London for? Come to my podcast. Let me conversate with you like that.
Done. You know, that even crossed my mind.
There you go, bro.
No, but now, Ruler, going forward, love for that broski, man. I needed that still. But you know what, Ibzz? What I really like about you is I feel like you have this, and we said it downstairs, you have this IDGAF attitude.
Yeah, I don't care, bro.
You really don't. And one of our previous guests was my guy, FD from the Future, fantastic content creator. And he's from Crawley, which is a small town, you know what I'm saying, in England, yeah? And I feel like often when people come from places outside of London, it's like, you don't let certain things hold you back. Whereas I feel like when you're from London, they call it the screw face capital for a reason. I think because we're so, I don't want to say image based, but we care so much about what people think that it kind of stops us from doing anything. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, do you feel like that's something about small towns and just other cities that aren't the metropolitan cities that everybody knows about that kind of makes you have that sort of attitude?
I don't even think it's the case. I think it's just on that individual's mindset, to be honest with you. Because I know a lot of people that, even in Edinburgh, bro, like care so much about what people think or do or like post. Like, bro, I get people on Insta saying, you post the most random shit. Like, fam, it's my Insta. Let me post what I want. Do you get me? Or like, I get people saying like what you doing? Why you wearing this? Why you doing? Do you get me? Like, it's like, I don't care. Like, I actually don't have that. I don't care. Actually, even some of my boys, they would like say something about what I've done or how I've handled it or whatever. Like, don't get me wrong, I know my rights and wrongs, but if I've handled it a certain way, then I've just done it my way. Do you get me? Like, what I know. But I don't think it's about the city you're from or whatever. Maybe it might impact it, but I just think like the way I think is you're born and you die alone, bro. Like, why do you care about what other people think? That's the way I look at it, innit? Like, at the end of the day, if I do things because I want to impress other people or I'm a people pleaser, what's that gonna gain me? So I just do what I want to do or say what I want to say in it or whatever it is. Like, I will just do what pleases me, if that makes sense.
Do you know what, Ibzz? Your answer makes so much sense. It's because the fact you have that attitude is why I'm sitting with you today. The fact that FD has that attitude is why I was sitting with him a couple of weeks ago. Do you get what I'm saying? It's I put it down to the city when really and truly I thought that because of you lot, but you lot are less representations of where you are, but more so representations of the fact that you're so confident in yourself and you're an individual. And naturally, those are the people that kind of tend to get to the upper echelons of whatever, I don't know, sector they're in. Do you know what I'm saying?
I get you. But even still, bro, like, in Edinburgh, I'm still a small fish, you get me?
Yeah?
100%. Like, when it comes to fashion, don't get me wrong, I'm like one of the only people that are into like in that fashion sector properly, in it. You get other brands in Scotland that are fashion, but I'm talking more like street fashion, streetwear, like proper. But like, when it comes to fashion, I'm nowhere near like everybody in Scotland know about my thing anyway. Do you get me? Because I've kind of gave up on that side of things. I want to just explore the world, if that makes sense, with like aim or like my audience is somewhere else. Like, that's what my aim is, isn't it? It's not really Scotland. But that's where my attitude comes from. Like, if I do my thing out of Scotland, Scotland's gonna end up following this trend anyway. Do you get me? And they're gonna be like, rah, this brand's from Scotland, let me buy from him. Eventually, I know it's gonna happen. I'll even say this on camera, people looking at it. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm confident. But if I was in London, bro, and I've seen all the opportunities that I got in Edinburgh, but if I had that opportunity in London, bro, I would say I would grow in like, I'd probably grow 10 times faster than I have.
Naturally.
Do you get me? 100%. Because of the position I would put myself in, the places I would go. Like, bro, if I had a Shoreditch like house in Edinburgh,
You'll go
bro.
crazy in there. Hey, every
Bro.
time you're here though, hit me up and we'll go, fam.
But that's what I'm saying. But I would live in there, fam. Do you get me? Like, I would be there. I would be socializing. I'd be networking. Like, I do these things in Edinburgh as much as I can, but there's not really much in Edinburgh. So it's not like an everyday thing. Do you get me? But if I was in London and like I was on this fashion thing, bro, like, say people like Heady One or these rappers, I don't know, like Fredo or whatever, bro. If I knew which ends these people were from, I'd go to that end. I'd go to their ends, bro. I know it sounds easier than said because whatever. Do you get me? Because it's ends, but
Hey, not every
like,
end you can go.
I know. No, trust me, I get it. I know how it works, fam. But at the same time, I would try position myself somewhere around
100%.
that place like a couple of times for me to bump into these people. Do you get me? Like I would follow. Like people in London might see these kind of rappers and be like, oh, it's him because they've seen him bare times, innit? But someone like me from Edinburgh that sees Fredo or sees Heady One or sees someone that's like massive still in the UK, bro, I would go chat to them. Do you get me? Especially if I know what what they are as a character. Like someone like Heady One seems like a funny guy, fam. Like he seems like someone that I can conversate with.
Yeah.
Like. So I would go and do. Obviously, if it's some like next level drill rapper thing, I'm not gonna go for it. Do you get me? Because I know that they're still not gonna influence my fashion brand anyway. So I wouldn't. So it's about where you position yourself, regardless of what you do, basically.
And I have total faith in you doing that. I can't lie to you.
We're getting there, man.
I have total faith in it. And I think that's a good segue. We're gonna start rounding off. How long have we been recording for, Rash? Like 120 or something?
113. Time's off, bro.
Oh, you know that tried the thing. That was my second guess, though. That was my second guess. But you know what, Ibzz? We're gonna start rounding off, yeah. So speaking of all the things we spoke of, I like how we're getting into like the lane of what's coming next. So what can we expect from you, and what can we expect from SaintMind, the brand?
What? Okay, so
And answer that question however you want because we might go on tangents. And
Okay. So what to expect from the brand is just be prepared to see it fly for one time. Like we're getting better at doing our thing, innit? Like being more on time with a lot of drops, having drops more recently. We're getting to that stage where we're getting a little bit more comfortable with like cash flow and stuff like that. So yeah, the drops are going to be a little bit more consistent. The quality is still always going to be up there. Do you get me? And hopefully we can just take it to the next level in terms of more orders, expand, and actually have larger, like bigger releases each time we drop in it. Because most time we drop, we've got like 6, 7, 8 products. So hopefully this winter is going to be our biggest drop yet.
yeah.
And the baddest drop yet. It's like leather jackets.
What?
Like, yeah, different.
Because all now, remember when we was on Shoreditch House? Pardon me. Hey, Shoreditch House has sponsored this bloody episode the amount of times we mentioned it. But remember we was in Shoreditch House and you that sweater, the reversible thing.
Yeah.
That's still not out, is it?
That's still not out. But see, this is the thing. I'm waiting for the correct time, innit?
Okay.
So when it comes to winter, like we're gonna do like merino wool, we're gonna do like something next level, like high end. Like we're gonna go like denim jeans. We're gonna do a lot of like different stuff in it. Something that kind of takes the brand to a different level.
Sorry to cut you, Ibzz, but I don't want to forget this question. Speaking of taking the brand to a different level and like widening your product offering, as a brand owner, how do you know when you're at that point to do that? Not necessarily, because I suppose it obviously comes down to your resources when you can do it, but how do you know when is the right time to do it?
I think it's the right time to do it when you're comfortable with the position you're in. For example, our position right now is like the cash flow is a little bit better, yeah? We've got a little bit more time in our hands. We feel a little bit more confident, like, we know we're going to get this many orders minimum per drop. So let's do something a bit different to risk it. So I think once you're at that level where you know what, like it's kind of consistent now. I know I'm going to get a minimum of say 100 orders per drop, or I know how much I'm going to make this collection. You kind of know I would say that's the point where you're like, okay, we can take it a little step up in it. Whether it's expanding your product range, whether it's ordering more quantities, whether it's anything like similar to that, you get me? And once you do that, that's when you can be like, okay, I'm going to risk it a little bit and I'm going to drop, say, instead of ordering 100 products, you'll be like, each product, I'm going to do 150. Because that extra 50 pieces of each product adds up to bare money, bro. And if you can sell that as well, bro, then you're literally taking it to the next level anyway. Do you get me? Like, if you've got 6 products and you've got an extra 50 of each one and you sell that as well, that's like easy extra 40 bags, like 30 bags. Do you get me? So if you can do that and you've got space to work with that money, you're marketing, like more high-end, like images, videos, that's another thing as well. Like if you look at brands like Cortez, with their marketing, bro,
Big budget
like,
movies,
that's
bro.
what I'm saying. Like if you, like, that's what kind of does take the brand to the next level. Do you get me? It's not always, and even behind the scenes as well, like like your staff, if you've hired someone, even that takes a brand to another level as well. So it's not essentially everything you see, like it can be behind the scenes as well. So there's a lot of different aspects where you can take the brand to our next level. But for us, it will be bigger product range, better marketing techniques, better like creatives, like images, videography, and just kind of make sure we're more consistent. That's our, I would say, what do you call it? The negative of the brand right now. We're just not too consistent right now. Do you get me? Like keep the social media posts up, try more on TikTok, try find a new motive, like a new way for people to follow. Does that make sense? But yeah, we've got a drop coming soon. So that's what I'm excited for. Something different. And that's something that's trending right now, you know, that I've not seen in the UK just yet.
Yeah.
But
Show
it
me
is.
after.
I'll show you.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the plan. And for me, get my fitness on point. You
look good, bro. You look good,
nah. Get my fitness on point. And yeah, bro, just expand, bro. Do you get me? Like, just get in the headspace of doing better and just running up my money, bro. Do you get me? Look after myself.
Facts. Hey, Ibzz, you got such a story, you know. I
There's a
was
lot.
even thinking, like, just your character and the way you are, and some of the stories you said today, that could be a movie, you know.
Bro, let's make it happen, man.
Say mass camps. I'll act in it still. I'll act in it. I'll be young Philly in that
Come.
scene.
I'll
You
be
gotta give me a trim.
transferred.
But no, for real, Ibzz, man, I can't lie. Thanks so much for coming to have this conversation with us.
bro.
Like, and it goes back to what I was saying about God's timing being perfect timing. Like, I feel like this conversation was so much better than like the first conversation we had on Thingy. And that was even a good conversation, to be fair. But like, so much has happened in between. I feel like naturally you've got more confident in speaking about your brand. You even mentioned the fact that over time the brand message has started to crystallize and form. So yeah, this was the perfect time to have the conversation. So thank you, my bro.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me as well. Again.
Anytime, bro. And we'll definitely do this again in the next couple of years as well.
Come on,
I
man.
feel like we'll do it in LA. You give me LA vibes.
LA?
Yeah, man.
I'll get you man all to come on a private jet.
Yeah! Hey, remember you said that? Mash, you better timestamp this. Yeah.
I don't save that part. It might not happen, but no. If it happens, it happens.
No, well, God willing, bro. Inshallah, bro. It'll happen, bro. Come on. But yeah, so you know how we end every episode. What would be your last piece of advice for the next generation of up and coming fashion designers or anyone that wants to get into fashion?
My one advice for up and coming designers would be fuck what anyone thinks. Stay in your lane. Don't get influenced by people that are not like you. And just do what's best for you and your family. That's my advice, innit?
You're the first. You might be the first man that's mentioned family in that last bit. You know, a real family man. Still, it just goes to show how, as you were saying, that that traumatic experience you went through affected you. Because I'm sure it made you value family on a whole nother level.
It did, fam. It did.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, just do what you got to do for your family and yourself. And stay in your lane, innit? Don't get influenced by like other people and just do what makes you happy, innit?
How do you avoid getting influenced by others?
I think you avoid getting influenced by others. Like if you can tell, like bro, a lot of people stay in a friend group even though they know the people are not the same people. Do you get me? Like if you're in a friend group with people and you know these are not the same people, or they do something and it's not in your comfort zone and you're not really about that life, it could be the tiniest thing, innit? And you always feel like you can't be yourself around them, leave it. Do you get me? Because these people are not gonna last. Like whether it's 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, it's not gonna last. That's one thing I've realized anyway, innit? So I just say like stay like focused in your own path. Listen, like it's rich coming from a young man like me, because I've not done it personally, but I've realized. But when it comes to family, like especially your mum and dad, whatever, they always want the best for you, innit? And it's not like you need to listen to them with everything, but when it comes to doing like certain things or act in a certain way, like they kind of know you better than you know yourself. Do you get me? They just act stupid.
Mm.
Like they know everything you're up to. Do you get me? They just act stupid. They don't say nothing, whatever. But I feel like just be honest, be yourself, and especially when it comes to doing fashion, just create pieces that you, even if people around you don't like it, if you think it's the most fucked up piece, drop it. Like that would be my advice. And if you're not confident in that piece or that product, more time, that product will have a lot more like marketing coverage to it, or it will be out there more. Do you get me? So,
you know, sorry to latch onto this, but if you hear what Ibzz just said, I love synergies between fashion and music, but how you just described that reminds me of when big artists talk about their songs that are the most successful. Often it's the song that they've made in 5 minutes. They're like, hey, fuck that tune. I don't even care about the tune. And then someone leaks it, for example, or it just gets put out by the label, and then that's a hit. So that's a really good piece of advice.
just literally, if you don't feel confident with it, drop it.
Wow.
Like that's it. You should put out a bit of advice, didn't it?
No, I will. But Ibzz, bro, my brother,
Thank you.
thank you so much, my brother. That was a great conversation. So if you just look into the camera and tell them where to find you, where to find your Instagram, the brand's Instagram, all your socials, really.
My Instagram, follow me, Ibzz_SaintMind, and my brand's is SaintMind Ltd. Get me on the gram. I'm not on TikTok. It's cringe. Don't follow me there. You know what I mean?
But make sure you follow Ibzz and SaintMind. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. You know where to find us, WMTV_LDN. And as I always say, keep it locked. Thank you for watching another episode of Where's My Podcast. If you ever want to take in future episodes